Alright, it's time to talk about changing FlightGear's keyboard bindings. Yes, FlightGear's keyboard bindings are actually reconfigurable. In fact, you're not limited to just remapping and swapping keys. You can reconfigure any character you can type to do nearly anything in the sim. There are quite a few reasons I don't encourage you to do this though. Firstly, planes in FlightGear, especially the more advanced ones, add their own keyboard bindings liberally. These bindings are often designed with the default mappings in mind, so if you remap the keys, you might end up with some functions inaccessible or overwritten, which would be very confusing both for yourself and anyone trying to help you. Secondly, you cannot do it from inside the GUI. You'll have to edit a configuration file written in an ancient format called XML. Those of you who were taught how to write a website in Notepad should already feel right at home with this stuff. If you weren't, let me give you a quick rundown. This is an element. It has an opening tag with the element's name and a closing tag, also with the element's name but with a slash before it to tell the computer you're done with it. Elements can contain text and other elements and more elements which can contain even more elements. People have also invented ways to not write everything's name twice. We can put text information about an element in these so-called attributes. We also have this shorthand, which means that you're so done with an element that you don't want to put anything in it and don't want to ever write its name again. Also, this janky thing is how comments look. If you want to learn more, you can browse the W3 School's website to read more about XML syntax and about other tools that exist for manipulating this method for storing tree-shaped data, a need which had been met by computer science researchers in the 60s and would be met again by a newfangled web programming language in the 2000s. Alright, once we got that out of the way, let's get started with actually creating the new key bindings. We'll walk through making the equals key open the multiplier chat box directly, so we can send custom messages quickly. The FlightGear wiki, even though often out of date and sometimes straight up confusing to navigate, has a page that gives us a neat list of what we should do. To add our own bindings, we need to figure out the key code of the key we want to use and the binding that we want to execute. Basically, which key we want to rebind and what we want it to do. The first step is to find the key code for your binding. In FlightGear, the key codes usually correspond with the character you type if you pressed that key combination, with a few extra codes for keys that aren't letters. I'll use the property browser method. First, press the slash key. That's the same as the question mark key, but you don't press shift. This window, called the property browser, will pop up. Now click on Devices, Status, Keyboard, then Event. If you click the wrong thing, go back up a level by clicking the double dots. Be very careful with the scroll bar. Now shift click on Key. You will now see a white real-time readout on the left side of the screen. You can also activate readouts for the modifiers if you wish. 3 of these you recognize. Super is a Windows key, and Hyper and Meta are unused, at least on my machine. We're ready to find the key code we need. Press the key combination you need to bind, including keys such as Ctrl, Shift, and Alt, then release it. Now read the number after key equals. Make a note of it as we'll need it later. Next, we need to find out how to tell FlightGear to do what we want. If you're making a key work like some other key or panel button, such as what we're doing here, making equal open the chat box like shift-, then you can look up how the key you're trying to clone is programmed. If the key works for all planes, you'll be looking in the keyboard.xml file within the folder you installed FlightGear into, most likely under program files. There's also a copy up on SourceForge that I linked to in the description. If it only works for a single plane, you need to look through XML files in the planes folder. That's the folder unzipped from the file you download from GitHub. Shift- works with all planes, so I'll look in keyboard.xml. The name of the key is usually placed in a name element, but it's not a given. I'll search the file for 2 angle brackets pointing inward with an underscore, what you get when you type shift- between them. Voila, found it! Now copy the whole key element into a new file. If you're making a completely unique key binding, you need to write the whole binding section from scratch. Again, the FlightGear wiki page has a pretty clean and readable list of what bindings are available. Your task will likely involve reading quite a bit of code. Don't give up. Now it is time to add a new binding to your FlightGear installation. Instead of editing keyboard.xml, I'll create a new config file instead. This way, the new bindings can be quickly deactivated if it's causing problems, and they won't be overwritten when FlightGear is updated. Copy this segment from the bottom of the Adding Keyboard Bindings wiki page and paste it into your new file. Replace the key element with the one you pasted in step 2. Replace the number behind n equals with the key code you wrote down in step 1. Change the name to the key you're binding so you don't have to guess the next time you read the file. Then save it anywhere on your computer outside of OneDrive. If you're binding multiple keys, you can put in as many key elements as you like right next to each other, as long as they're all inside the keyboard element. Now, we need to find the full path to the file we just saved. Find the file using the File Explorer, open the Run dialog, and drag your file from the File Explorer into the text box on the Run dialog. The path will now be shown in the text box, which you can copy. If you're on Mac or Linux, drag the file into a terminal window instead. Finally, go into the Additional Settings box on the Settings tab, type in --config equals, then paste in the path you just copied. Now launch FlightGear and your new key bindings should be active. Whew! Hopefully you can see that making new key mappings is a process a lot more complicated than most things I've shown you on this channel. A lot can go wrong during this process, and I don't have enough time or foresight to go through all of them. If anything fails, I recommend you post about it on the FlightGear Discord or forum. Don't forget to mention what exactly happened, what you expected to happen, and what version you're using, including the year number. That's it for today, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. There might even be more live streams in the coming months. Safe flights!